Hey man, welcome back to the Super Divorce YouTube and so on and so forth. Wherever you're watching, welcome. Welcome to tonight's program. I know I'm late. I don't like doing that. I don't like being late, but I ran into some computational issues with my PC, and from there, just had to modify and strategize and come up with a workaround. Give it the old reach around is what I had to do. And so I was going to be playing this on my personal computer. Unfortunately, firing the game up caused my audio system to completely crash out. And I don't know why, but it did. As soon as I fired the game up, it was like just crackling in game, crackling from the mic, crackling from other videos I would try to play on my computer, and it was no good. And so I restarted. I updated all my drivers. Nothing. It was fine until I opened Myst, and then the problems would just hit the fan like a big pile of turds. So I said, all right, fine. I'll look and see if it's on PlayStation, and it was. And so that's what I'm doing here. We're playing the PlayStation version, and we're gonna get started here. This is the game that won today in our poll for this week's fucking Wildcard Wednesday. And this is not a game that I'm uber familiar with. I've never played through it. I don't know how to solve all the puzzles. I know it's a head scratcher. So we'll hop in and see what happens with Myst. Give it the old college grab. Like we're grabbing a big fat ass. So here we go. That looks like, I might be able to modify this. Hold on a second. Let me try to make this a little bit more better. What if we just, oh no, then it's gonna be, hold on. I'll have to drag it like, wait, then let's try that. Let's try this. Because we got all this extra unused space. And, it's not too pretty. Can I just not? I guess I can't drag it down anymore that way. What if I do that? How about that? And then how about going ahead and just dragging this over here? Like this right here. And then we can just scoot it back over. That looks a little bit better. It's not perfect, but it will do for our purposes. Oh, man. All right. Well, so here we are on some sort of dock. On a dock of the bay. You can point this way, and you swizzle over to the left. Swizzle over this way. Can't really walk any further in that direction. So we'll turn it. See if there's anything to look at. We can't walk out there. We can just turn. We can turn, we can walk forwards. We've got some sort of lever right here. I don't know what that does. Okay, let's go up the stairs. So we're here at this stairway. Let's try going over here. And you can't look any further to the left. There appears to be something on the turf here. What is that? Catherine, I've left for you a message of utmost importance in our 4-chamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Enter the number of marker switches on this island. What are the marker switches? I don't know anything about that. I'll keep an eye out for marker switches. Whatever those are. Here's another one of these. Is that a marker switch? Oh, we can go in here. Sort of like, I don't know, the island dentist office? Oh, we sit down and we look up and we see. January 1st, year 0, 12 a.m. So you can change the date and the time. And then what? You change the date and the time, July 4th. You go back down. You could, something with a date. All right. Well, I don't know about that. What does that button do? Oh, you can turn the lights off. You can look up at the sky. It's like an observatory of sorts, a planetarium. Perhaps you have to set the date, and then you can see what the sky looked like on that date in particular. And this just swizzle you back and forth. I guess you can't. You can only walk forward into the chair. I don't see anything else laying around. Okay. We'll go forward, onwards. So we need a date, and we need switches. We can walk over here. We can look to the left. We can go down towards the forest. What are these? Let's walk over. What do we got there? This is some sort of, it's like a fountain, a little pool. There's another switch. I'm guessing that has to be the switch that they're talking about. Maybe I should keep track of some of this. I know that a lot of people say, oh, when you play Myst, you got to keep a notebook handy. And already I believe that. Already I'm sold on that notion. If I could find some sort of back and writing utensil, I usually have one just right here. Just at my desk. Looks like it's fallen onto the floor. Well, this is a mini game in itself. Find the pen mini game. Let me just... Yeah. Okay. All right. I got one. All right, I'm just gonna take this out here. Just give me a second while I whip it out. You got that. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll just we'll say Myst. Myst notes. Okay, so all right. Let's say switches. Okay. Switches, we've got number 1 is going to be down by the dire docks. And then we had one by the dentist office. Okay, and then we got one over here in the woods by the little what is that? It's like a bird feeder. It's like a bird feeder pool. Okay, let's... Oops, no, I go to pick up my mouse. I'm not even playing on the PC. Gosh, I'm silly sometimes. Okay, can I look? I can only look backwards. Okay, there's nothing. It's not like I can peer into the forest itself. And then we got one down here. Here's a switch. And what is this building? This is like... leads down to a basement. Into like the catacombs. So you can keep descending down into the catacombs. You press the button, door opens up. What's all that? You look in here, what is it? Sort of, some sort of, what are those? What do you want to get them all to 100%? Is that the idea? So like if you turn that down, and maybe turn that one off. Yeah, okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, what do we got here? Power. Power to spaceship. That's a spaceship? Generator switches 1 through 10. Maybe we can find some sort of note somewhere else that tells us about that. We'll call that the spaceship building. So we had another switch there. At the spaceship building. Oh no! I dropped my fucking pen! Oh gosh. What a blunder. Well, this is harder than the game. Trying to hold on to a damn pen. How the heck am I supposed to... Here, let's try that. Okay. Alright. Okay, we're back. Now if I can just find a safe spot where that's not gonna get knocked down every 2 fucking seconds. Might be a good idea. Alright. Grab my controller back here. And wander on up back to the top of our spaceship building. Back outdoors into the woodlands. And this seems like a different path. This takes us down to some sort of clock building. Maybe we can tinker with these valves here. So you tinker with the valves. You press the button. I suppose maybe a bridge comes out to connect the way. I'm just going to make a quick note of that and say, like, I'll put down here under question mark. I'll say valves to clock building? Valves to clock building? Tired of streaming to late night or streaming late to no viewers? Get the best viewers at streamycock.com. I didn't even acknowledge that one this time. Right off the bat, as soon as I started, we had a fucking kilk bot. Right off the bat, wasted no time coming after me. Fucking Nesna.com. Should be illegal. Bots. Anyway, what's up, good brother? You ever played Myst before? More importantly, have you beaten Myst? Because that's the question. I feel like a lot of people have tinkered with it, tried it out for a few seconds. It's of course a classic game, but the number of people who've actually made it all the way through, now that's a smaller percentage. A green book. I called this age what? Channelwood, and it is a very different world. Though it is exactly how I imagined it, it is still amazing to see it with my, what is it, something eyes? I don't know what that word is, elven? Water covers this age as far as I can see, except for a small rocky island. Elsewhere, there are only trees, which grow directly out of the water. A myriad of thin wooden passageways are built just above the water and disappear into the forest. I assume they were built some time ago, for they appear aged. I am eager to discover more about this land and its people, but I have arrived here late and I must rest. I was awakened this morning by strange noises coming from a pathway adjacent to the one on which I had slept. I saw a group of monkey-like people heading in my direction. They had not seen me yet. I did not feel threatened by their presence. Their response to me was one that I would have never expected. After staring at me for a short time, they fell to their knees and began what appeared to be some sort of ceremonial worship. I tried to speak to them, but they did not understand my language. Instead, they indicated through enthusiastic hand motions that I was to follow them. As we walked, I began to notice that the waters below us were changing colors. Subtly, they would change from deep blue to muddy orange, then from muddy orange to beautifully clear. I was so intrigued by the water, I hardly noticed that we had arrived at a ladder. Climbing the ladder led us to their village, which is about 10 meters above the water and can only be reached by rope ladders that stretch from the lower paths to the village level approximately halfway up the grand trees. It is very interesting watching these people carry out their daily tasks. Even after watching them for hours, I did not understand exactly what they were doing. At sunset, they motioned for me to follow them. I followed the creatures to the doorway of an enormous hut. Strangely, once inside, I found that the hut appeared even larger than it had from the outside. The walls were garnished with bright metals, and in the center of the hut sat the leader of these people. At least he appeared to be their leader, for he sat a meter off the floor in a thick throne. Guards surrounded the strong creature, who was dressed in many exotic, colorful fabrics. Next to the leader sat a very old human. At least to some extent he appeared human. His hair, which was only on his face and head, was completely gray, almost white, and hung very long around his frail body. His thin head hung limply by an almost grotesque neck that could not hold its head up to look at me. But what a surprise! Shortly thereafter, I was given a bed with some hand motions that looked to be telling me to go to sleep. I looked forward to learning more. And now written in red, it says, as I suspected, the ancient creature is a human, but he is old beyond his own reckoning and seems almost insane. However, the tree dwellers almost revere him as a god. They are treating me now in the same fashion, which makes me feel very uncomfortable. It is almost impossible to understand this old man. His voice is feeble but wild. He has adopted much of the language of the tree dwellers. He himself told me he had not spoken our own language in ages. He attempted to explain to me the history of this place. The following is my best translation of what he has told me. This is what the old man said. He said, "Many years ago, the humans and tree dwellers lived together in this place, which was then a vast island. They interacted very little. The humans dwelt on the ground, and the tree dwellers lived high above the humans. Occasionally, the island was disturbed by mysterious rumblings which happened randomly, some sort of tectonic or volcanic action. The sometimes slight, sometimes heavy tremors would only last a short time. Then they would stop, allowing everything to return to normal. One day things changed. The rumbling began and grew quickly to unprecedented levels. Soon it became apparent that the entire island was sinking slowly into the ocean around them. Many of the humans died that day, but not before sacrificing themselves in order to stop the sinking of the island. The humans who lived through this catastrophe moved into the trees where they gradually died out. Maybe because they were unequipped for such an environment, but I'm not sure. This is the story the old man communicated to me, although many details are very unclear in my mind. I am especially confused as to how the humans saved the island from completely sinking. In fact, I doubt the accuracy of that part of the story. The island must have stopped on its own, yet the old man believes in the truth of the story as if he had been there, and the tree dwellers worship him, and apparently all humans, as if they were heroes or gods. The old man ended our conversation today with an event which I will never forget. He began gripping my hands tightly, murmuring something about rest and sleep. He then said, "We had expected you to come sooner." That's what she said. These actions filled me with a sort of immediate dread. With much effort, he stood to his feet. I tried to help, but he pushed me away with more force than I imagined his frail body contained. The tree dwellers quietly surrounded him with very solemn faces. They then kneeled before him. He walked to each and placed his hand on their heads. All the while, he murmured words which I did not understand. Finally, he turned to me and smiled. Then he closed his eyes and walked out the door and off the narrow path high in the trees. The tree dwellers were silent. They began a procession down the nearest rope ladder. As I was descending, I saw several of them pick up the body. He had fallen onto a lower level of walkway and carry it away. He was laying down at the dead end of a short pier-like structure. With the use of some potion, one of the creatures lit the pier on fire, and I watched as the flames engulfed him. As this strange funeral proceeded, the waters around the pier changed to dull green. This morning I awoke finding it hard to even believe the previous evening's events. The water is a dull green for as far as I can see now. For some reason, the water no longer shifts color. As I wander throughout the pathways, the creatures watch me, curious to see what I will do next. They're constantly offering me strange objects of affection. I even found food outside the doorway to the room in which I had slept. This is a unique race of beings. I hope to learn their language soon so that I may learn more from them. This is just going to be story time with Super Divorce. I don't know. Continuing on, in blue writing now. I have lived on this world for 3 months off and on, and the tree dwellers have shown great hospitality. I am even beginning to learn bits of their language. I have decided to return home for an extended stay with my loving wife and sons, and hopefully return with them. However, I am sure Catherine will once again refuse. I think this age would be a wonderful experience for them all, and I at least look forward to how Cirrus, and Achenar will react to its curious inhabitants. So this guy seems like a time traveler, is what I'm gleaning from this. And he wants his family to come with him to this age where we are to experience it. He thinks it would be a fun learning experience, maybe a fun little vacay. Now in green writing, Catherine is staying behind as expected. My sons have returned with me, and they enjoy this age very much. They get along very well with the tree dwellers and are picking up their language surprisingly fast. I have no doubt that it will not be too long until they can speak with the tree dwellers much better than myself. Now in black writing, I am leaving tomorrow to check on Osmodian age. Cirrus has suggested that I allow him and his brother to stay, though the idea unsettles me. I know the boys are growing up rapidly. The hospitality of these creatures is such that I could think of no better place to leave them alone for a short while, so I will consent to their request. Now in blue writing, I warn the boys not to take advantage of the respect the tree dwellers have for their ideas. They seem to understand my warning, and I have faith that they will follow it. Now back to black. Much to my dismay, upon arriving in Everdunes, I learned that Pran and her people are continuing to be menaced by the Choktik. I fear for their survival and plan on returning to her shortly after checking on Cirrus and Akinar. Here, see Everdune's journal for more information. After watching Cirrus and Akinar, I see they are handling things very well, and I think I can put to rest any fears about leaving them in Channelwood again, and for a little danger longer. In pink writing, the tree dwellers seem slightly distressed that I am leaving, but are happy that Cirrus and Akinar are staying behind again. In red writing, I have been gone for over 3 days and have been to many different places. I had to tell Cirrus and Akinar about Pran's death today, and they were visibly shaken, although they only remembered her from their childhood. Pran. Who's Pran? Catherine has suggested that it would be wise for Cirrus and Akinar to leave Channelwood for a while, and I have to agree. They will be returning with me when I leave again. In blue writing, I have told my sons that they will be returning with me in 2 days. They spent the entire night telling me of an adventure they experienced in my absence, and it was rather remarkable. It seems they constructed a boat with the creatures and traveled some ways out into the surrounding waters. I enjoy hearing them talk excitedly of their adventures, and it reminded my own adventures as a child. I finally understand why the tree dwellers have been giving me their mini inks and insisting I write with them. Looking through some of my past entries, I see now that the inks have changed from the black I thought they were to various different colors. I have shown some of the creatures my journal, and they laughed and howled. I did not know they had such a sense of humor. Even now, as I look through this very colorful journal, I cannot help but laugh myself. We will be returning tomorrow, so my sons are with the creatures for the last night here. They have told me they would like to come to Channelwood again, and also asked if they can visit some other ages alone. Though I'll have to think over their request, I believe they have proven to me that they are trustworthy and responsible. Catherine will also have to help me decide whether they are ready for the travel alone. For now, I must give my farewells to the creatures, for I do not know how long it will be until I can visit this age again. All right. Okay. That was a mouthful. Plus a grabby hand or two. And now here we see some sort of map has been left for us in this journal. We've got what looks to be a tree house, a windmill. What does it say? Future bridge. Does that mean maybe they were planning to build one, or that's a bridge to the future, literally? I don't know. That's where it ends, though. Okay. Well, let's put the book down And there's another one right here, actually. That's all moldy. That's not a good book. Here's a blue book. Boy. More of this. I have the feeling this is one of those games where you need to read all of the shit. Probably to find clues and whatnot. Are they all that long? I wonder. I'm just gonna flip through to see. It's a little long. It's pretty long. It's pretty long. And probably this one is too. Nope. That one's all moldy. How about this one down here? Another one. Another with quite a few pages. Quite a few pages to look through in this one. Yeah, I mean, I'll look around. But to be quite honest, I don't know if this is the greatest game for streaming. I'm feeling like this is the type of game that if you're watching this stream, you might end up snoozing off. There's not a lot of action going on. And I don't know that people tune in to just watch me read strange and obscure lore from the world of Myst. So you can pick up this. What do we do there? What happened? So here's another book.
Monsieur? Are you? See you. Help me. Ring. Blue pages. Never. Pages. I must have the blue page.
I must have the blue pages.
Bring them to me.
Huh? He must have the blue pages. So I guess you find blue pages and you put them in this book and they turn into videos. The blue page video book. Eh? What are we doing in the fireplace? There's a button. We've triggered something. Oh! We're behind bars. What? What is this? What is going on there? What? You can make all sorts of little squares here. You probably have to input some sort of code. Well, that's enough of that for now. I don't have that code, and I don't think I'm gonna guess it right off the top of my head. Here's a pink book. What if you put this in here? Do you get a pink book video? Why you?
Bring me a red page.
Oh, red. This is supposed to be red. Bring me the red pages.
I can't see. Need a red page, you must.
The red page must. Must what?
Bring. I am serious.
He's serious.
Given up. There is one thing I must rescue.
Okay, well that was nonsense. That didn't tell me jack nor shit about anything. Except he wants red pages. And the other guy wants blue pages. I don't know if it was the same guy. Maybe it is. This seems to be a map. Tower rotation. Oh, we can change the tower rotation from this map. So if we looked all around here, I don't know, I didn't look at this, did I? No, there's nothing else to do with that. No further examination there. Must turn to the right. Must leave this place. Okay, back outdoors. Let's look over here. So you can wander up to the front. And can we go over here? What is this, a missile? Or a rocket ship? Here's another switch. Okay, let me mark that down. We'll call this, rocket. Okay, there we got another one. I don't think I can do anything with that, can I? Okay, looks like it has some sort of door there. But I can't open it right now. And wait a second, was that a ladder? Oh, yeah. It's a ladder. Let me just go down here first. Ascending the ladder to go up to some electrical wires. What happens if you... Oh, you can... Okay, it didn't seem to power anything on. Probably have to do something else before that works. Maybe when you power that on, that that hatch will open up. Okay, well let's walk back down to the pier and take this other way now. Wait, I thought that was a switch. Maybe that's just where I started. So you can go up here to the big gears. There's another switch. Okay, that's switch number 6 that I found. At the gears. And I'm guessing it's not as simple as just turning all the switches on. You probably have to do something else. You probably have to turn them on in a certain order. So right now, we got that one down there. That was the very first one. We got the gears. What did this say again? Okay. In our 4-chamber beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager to retrieve the message. Well, so far I found 6 of them. And is this what they're talking about? Is that the place? Is that the 4-chamber? It's beside the dock. Enter the number of marker switches on this island into the imager. Go back in the dentist's office here. But see, that doesn't make much sense to me. Because when you actually look at this, it wants you to put a date in. So, what do you mean? 6? The number 6? That doesn't tell me anything. This can't be what they're talking about. But that seems like it might be called the imager. So... was there something else next to the dock that I was supposed to see? Maybe this is the, is this the, 4 chamber? Is this the one? I don't know. What happened to the thing I wanted to look at? I don't know, maybe I need to read more. I probably do. Probably need to read more. Alright, I'll crack the spine of this one. This blue book. See if we find any clues in here. Says, Emmett was the first to live on the rocks. He named them the rocks. Because that is what they were. Rocks. A group of sharp rocks clustered together in the middle of a large sea. This was where Emmett lived. He enjoyed his life. Emmett would occasionally swim to nearby rocks, and he called those the rocks. Part 2. As it was never too far off a distance. One day, another person appeared on the rocks. For no apparent reason to Emmett. Emmett named this new person Branch. Emmett and Branch quickly became friends, swimming and hunting for fish together often. Emmett showed Branch the simple cave in which he lived on the largest rock. Soon, Branch discovered a place where he decided to live, also on the same large rock. The sun always shone brightly in their world, and the water was always dazzlingly clear, allowing them to see almost to the deep ocean floor which surrounded them. Though the sun always shone, it was never too hot for the boys. Never too hot for the boys. Never got too hot. They just, hell, jump on in, fully nude, cool off a little bit, kick back, you know, relax, soak up some rays, dive back in again. A light breeze always came from the north and cooled the area down. One day, while Branch was swimming and having fun in the water, he noticed another boy swimming. Branch brought the new boy to Emmett to find out what to call the new boy. Emmett said the boy should be called Will. Branch, Emmett, and Will. Will was soon a part of the group, and all 3 of the boys swam and enjoyed their perfect world. At least, that is the story I was told when I arrived today on the island. Emmett, Branch, and Will were surprised to see me at first, but even before the night ended, we were all becoming good friends. Today, the second day on this newly created age, a strange thing happened. It was not strange to me, but the 3 boys did not understand what was happening. While I was relaxing under a large tree on one of the smaller rock islands, it began to rain. It was a nice rain that lasted for about an hour in the morning. I explained to the boys that the rain was not harmful, yet they obviously still feared it. Before going to sleep tonight, I told the boys I would leave the following day. I told them that while I was gone, I would make a surprising change in their world. They didn't understand. Not that I expected them to. I still do not fully understand what happened today. I was experimenting with the art, testing the limits of the rules as dictated to me by Father. I attempted to create a boat by writing it into the world. I thought everything was planned correctly, yet somehow the boat had become gripped by the rock and broken in half. Although this test did not turn out as I had hoped, I now have answers to a few of the questions my father never answered. As for the boat, I can see the boys enjoy it anyway, and with that I am pleased. They have played on it all day. Okay. So I think this is written by the first guy, one of his sons that he left on the island. Maybe. Even though the boat cannot move, I have enjoyed studying from it. It is a much sturdier platform than the jagged rocks. In the course of my observations, I have learned some very interesting things regarding the solar system of this age. There's a lamp. The nights are absolutely beautiful here. I have made note of and named a number of constellations that pass above me. Also during the night, I catch glimmers of light from the horizon, which I have not been able to discover if it is created by some natural phenomenon or by additional people on far-off islands or rocks. I should very much like to discover which. I rather suspect it is additional people, which would explain the appearance of Branch and Will. The rain today was slightly heavier than usual. Just when the boys were getting used to light rains, a small storm arrived. They were frightened of the heavier rain, not to mention the thunder and lightning. If rain has never fallen here until recently, as the boys tell me, I would like to discover why it is falling now. Regardless, I have decided to return home for a short while. I have also been thinking of some plans for a lighthouse that I hope to construct soon. I think that perhaps by shining a bright light towards the horizon, it might prove my suspicions regarding additional inhabitants. They would be curious about the light and travel to discover its source if they have the means. I return with many tools that I will need for construction of the lighthouse. I have decided that once the lighthouse is completed, I will leave for some time and let the world's own imagination have control. We have worked 3 weeks on the lighthouse now and are making great progress. The rock that we are building on seems to not be as secure as I would like. I have had to alter my plans slightly, but those alterations pose me no real problem. Camp. What is this, camp? Camp what? The boys are quite strong and have been helping me immensely. I estimate construction will be done within 2 days. The lighthouse is finished, and we are all proud of our creation. The boys are amazed at the structure wrought from rock with their own hands. That evening, we powered up the generator, much to the boys' dread at first, and shined a great light to the horizon for many hours. I stayed the night in the top of the lighthouse, and in the morning awoke to observe the sunrise without my being coated with chilly blanket of ocean. What is that? Ocean des... I can't read that. It's too pixelated to even read that word. Dew? A chilly blanket of ocean dew. I had become accustomed it. It was Will who first saw the girl. She was swimming not far from the boat where Will was getting ready to hunt for fish. Then Will noticed a man not far from the girl. Emmett was very pleased to meet the additional neighbors. I feel pleased to leave this age. I have set in motion events that have nothing to do with writing or the art. That will have more profound impact on this world than I could have ever written. I think of this age as a gift to myself that I will wrap up and open someday in the future, only to discover that it has changed so much that indeed it is a surprise. Besides, I have yet another new age that awaits me. It seems I'm going to need some way to travel underwater in this new age, and so much planning is in order. So the art might be the fact that he can write things into existence, because he wrote about the boat, and then there was a boat, but then he wanted to build the lighthouse with his own 2 hands and have the boys help him. All right. The Blue Book says, it has been a while since I have heard only silence, and I enjoy it greatly, I think. For some reason, I do not feel altogether welcome in this new world in which I have arrived. But how could I be unwelcome in an age with no inhabitants? It is, of course, only in my head. This world is very beautiful, but I think I have yet to ever write in a journal that an age I have linked to is horrid or disgusting. From the grassy hill where I am standing, I can see green fields below, along with a few scattered forests. A rather large lake looms some distance from where I'm standing, yet the water's blue can be seen plainly from here. The air is fresh, and the sky is sparkled with white clouds. It is absolutely breathtaking, and yet that strange feeling again. Perhaps it is the hot breeze that continues to blow from the north, hotter than I would have imagined. It almost singes my skin, and I feel quite uncomfortable when it comes. I will try to ignore it. Night has almost arrived, and the sunset is spectacular. Oranges and reds have settled above the western horizon. Though night has come, the horizon still glows red long past the sunset. Dark reds flow from the horizon and blend into the black sky. Again, the feeling, and I am beginning to believe it is not all in my mind. I must sleep now. I will need my strength to explore more tomorrow. I have had to return home due to an unpredictable natural occurrence more frightening than I have ever experienced. I was awakened by terrible shakings in the ground and explosions on all sides of me. Gigantic balls of fire were falling from the sky, and I immediately felt fear for my life. I must remember to bring a Myst linking book. Myst. That's the game's title. I must remember to bring a Myst linking book with me when I return in case the one left there has been destroyed or damaged. I've returned to a different world than the one I left only 3 months ago. It has been transformed into a barren desert land with only gigantic craters scattered across the land to provide variety. Strangely enough, the small grassy hill where I spent my first night remains exactly the way I found it. Apparently, the falling meteors did not hit this area, leaving an oasis in the midst of this horrible desolation. The hot wind, I remember, has turned into a rather pleasant breeze, which is at least one improvement. I fear it is the only improvement. The magnificent lake I saw on my first visit is now completely dried up. However, another lake now exists and appears to be quite a bit larger. I assume one of the falling meteors created this lake due to its circular shape and the jutting rock that grows out of the center of the lake. The rest of this world seems like desert, although I will verify that statement with closer inspection. Though this world has little visual excitement to offer, it offers much to the ears. Sounds constantly flow through my ears, and I have found where a few of them originate. It seems, as Catherine says, I do find beauty in everything. Last night I was awakened by a horrible hissing. I was sweating, and the heat was so intense that I immediately dipped my head in a nearby stream to cool it down. The hot breezes had returned, along with a low roar from the ground. I walked a short distance to observe some red flames shooting up from the earth. Suddenly the ground began to crack and a huge chasm opened. The chasm continued to grow until it was far too wide to cross. Then the tumult subsided, leaving only a dull roar. I have decided, however, I can use the chasm to my advantage. Perhaps the heat from the chasm can be harnessed. What's up, Ron? No, not in Kentucky yet. That's going to be on Friday. Friday, we're heading to Kentucky. Ron from Moscow. A lot of reading in this game, if you're just joining. I don't know if you're familiar with Myst, but it's a puzzling puzzler. Even as the chasm is ripped into the surface of this world, it has opened up a whole new world to explore. Although uncomfortably hot, I found it possible to reach a cave in the chasm that had been created, and have now explored deep into the crust of this planet. I have found a vast underground cave system that will take many years to map and explore. I will also look for a safer way to reach the underground than through the chasm wall. This age seems to change in its own, so I feel I should leave again and see if things are different when I return. It is also important that I check on Cirrus and Akner and make sure everything is going along well. When I return, I also hope to bring back some tools I will need for my plans to explore the underground. The abundance of raw materials here is beginning to amaze me. I have returned with some of the complex tools I knew I would be needing. I assumed I would have to return for more basic materials. However, it seems as though I will be able to find everything I need here. Of course, iron is abundant, but I've also found titanium occurring naturally. I am all the more excited to begin work. Everything is set, and I look forward to tomorrow. My raw materials are all here. I think I will be able to have most of my additions to this age completed within 1 year. I so love working with my hands, whether writing or building. I began today on the bridge and you have some money in the Indian market and it's booming. Well, that's nice. That's good news for you. Always nice when your stocks are doing well. I got a few stocks myself. I've diversified a little bit. Okay, the final book here. What's up, Sona? Hello. Hello, Nasona. Thanks for stopping by for story time with Super Divorce. Because that's all we're doing here is just reading. Reading and reading and reading because I don't really know what else to do. The puzzles that I've been faced with so far don't seem to be offering up any clues. I don't see anything just by walking around, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go back and I'll just read these books to see if there's anything. And so far, I haven't picked up on anything that's going to help me solve a puzzle. I'm learning more about the world. It's a strange place. We're dealing with some time travelers, it seems. They like pop into the world. Someone who's entering in here has what they call the art, where they can write things down and then have them appear. Something like that. The guy made a boat. He wrote about a boat and then it appeared in the world, but when it appeared, it was broken. It had crashed. So maybe the world doesn't want people to have boats. I don't know. I'm not sure. But continuing on, before arriving in this age, I was determined that it would be a journey to a world very different from my previous adventures, and it was. The sky here is dark and gray, and incessantly displays flashes of lightning in the distance. I met a very old man with a long beard and hair that hangs to his waist. He is very feeble and has trouble even moving. This man has obviously been through many things in this strange world, and I have learned many things from him. He has told me an interesting story of this world's history. Years ago, he told me, there was a beautiful city that rose up out of the water. It housed many people inside its walls, and the people had everything they wished for. The city was surrounded by 3 high hills which rose higher than the city. On the east hill of the city rested a large lookout post. The people of the city had constructed the post expecting visitors to arrive from the east. The people had no means of traveling on the water, which forced them to merely wait for friend or foe. They didn't know how to make a boat, these people. They could make these lovely, beautiful cities, but they couldn't make a boat. As time passed, friendly visitors brought rumors of an enemy that existed beyond the horizon. The lookout post attempts at peace were turned away, and the sentries there were easily overwhelmed. The ships continued to wreak havoc on the city, apparently destroying everyone and everything. After the foundations of the city were destroyed, the city sunk deep into the ocean, and only the lookout post remained. The black ships sailed away. The man continued to say that 8 people had hidden and managed to survive through the attack. In the 9 years since the attack, 2 of the survivors had died. He also said that it was rumored that 10 years from the attack, the enemy would return to finish the destruction they had started so long ago. I have decided, since hearing the man's story, it would be admirable to save this civilization and stop this enemy's plan of destruction. I'm excited about the adventure that awaits me, and an idea has sparked in my mind to provide the needed defense for these people. I met the remaining survivors today, and I have begun work on a plan for protection. After a short absence, I have returned to this age. So there's some sort of little map of something, or a schematic. With my two sons, they have as of yet traveled rarely with me, and they are understandably excited to be here. They have grown considerably since ever June's, and it is already obvious to me that they will be a great help this time, instead of the nuisance they have been in the past. All three of us, along with 4 of the healthier survivors, began construction today. We're building upon the old city's ruins, which will provide a perfect foundation for our fortress. My sons have been spending much of their spare time on the South Island, where most of my materials are stored. I am very pleased with their intelligence, and their creativity is refreshing to see as they work on some small projects of their own. It has been over 4 months now, and construction is going well on the fortress. My sons love the world except for its gray sky. They detest the gray sky and tell me many times they wish the sky here were like the blue sky in Myst. The old man I first talked to tells me that the enemy is due in 4 months. I feel we will be ready when the time comes. The man reminds me of Emmett in many ways, and I often wonder how Emmett and his people are doing. It has been 6 months of work, and we have finally finished the fortress. It rests between the 3 hills, which are now only islands due to a rising water level that the people experienced after the attack. Inside the fortress, I have designed a most intriguing device. It makes use of a technology called holography. I began experimenting with on my visits to Appermere. It will be working in a couple of days after I compensate for some small miscalculations. This holographic device will enable the survivors to learn to use the fortress. The enemy is due to come soon, and I trust the fortress will provide sufficient protection for all of us. Okay, so there's another schematic, some sort of clue, a track. The black ships have come. Their attack was substantial. The weapons have stopped. Is that what it said? The weapons? I think it says weapons. Have been stopped, and it appears they have turned away in defeat. I could not help but smile as I watched the boats leave. Last night we had a small celebration. The old survivors danced their dances of old. Maybe the Charleston. Maybe they did the Soldier Boy Tell 'em dance. Crank that Soldier Boy is what they did, perhaps, to celebrate the ships turning and leaving. My sons did not understand why the sky had not turned back to its original blue. The old man told them that the storms would never end until the enemy was destroyed. I assured my sons that a blue sky was not worth the risk of death, and they seemed to hear me. Have had a healthy adventure and have begun work on a new book. Once again, I must leave a familiar age in search of a new universe. I have begun. But first, I will have an extended time with Catherine, whom I miss very much. He's missing her dearly. He's got to have an extended time, if you know what he means. He's got to extend. I must also return to the people of the tide. I believe in my travels, I found a substance that will ease the pain of their bone ailments they have long endured. I hope to return to mechanical age one day and find the population growing and my fortress still strong. Though the sky may always be black, I am confident the people here feel a heavier darkness has been lifted from their shoulders. So I read all that, and I didn't find anything. They said a lot. They sure did, but they didn't give me anything that I feel I can use to solve any of the puzzles. And that's just something else. So, okay. So maybe what I should do is go back down to the catacombs and check to see if I can maybe get the power turned on or something. Not there. The catacombs. Hey, well, that's fun. Gonna go out with the wife and kids for lunch. What are you gonna pick up? You have a favorite restaurant? Favorite food treat you like to get? Something fancy to celebrate? So we have to go down here and then press this button to open the door. We can do that. I can press a button to open a door. I at least got that down. And then we got to go in here. Not making quite as much progress as I did on Dead Space last night. So if you turn all these off, what do you got to do? Start over again? I thought when I started doing this before, I was getting some movement on both sides. 96, 98, 99. I mean, they got me. I don't really know. I don't feel like I can solve that. Look at this again. I don't think it really tells me much. Power to spaceship. So if I get this one powered on, then maybe the power line out to the spaceship will kick up. But to do that, I got to get this up to something. But it seems like only the left side is working. So why is that? It's at 99. Not 100, just 99. Does it need to be at 100? I don't know! It doesn't even look like there's enough space for a 100 to be displayed. So maybe with that at 99, you got to go back outdoors and you got to flip that switch up the pole. Perhaps that's it. Just turn around. No, not that way. Back up here. That's what we'll do. Maybe I should have another look in here. Oh, it's like a sunken boat. It's a little diorama of the sunken boat. And you can't examine that any further. You can go down here. This is what I wanted to look at. So this is pretty low key. If you're looking for something a bit more flavorful, that didn't work. Okay. Yeah, we're getting a tick, 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 tick. And that doesn't seem quite right. But what I was going to say is if you're looking for something more flavorful, a little more high octane, check out my playthrough that I did for V's Rage. As I said in the outro, it should have been called Envy's Rage because I almost quit that game. It almost was a can't deal with it episode. It would have been had I not sunken in a lot of time to it. Got pretty mad at that one. pretty mad. I was pretty upset at certain points in that game. Part side scroller, like side scroll and beat 'em up. Part shmup. There was like a rail shooter part. It was inventive. It was interesting. And I ended up giving it a good score, but it really put me through the ringer, let me tell you. And go back down here. Perhaps I missed something down here. What is that? Oh! Oh, I missed that before. What is this? Some whimsical music playing. That didn't do anything. Oh, it did, actually. It gave us some lights to look at. So you do that and it fills back up with water. You do that. I wonder if... I wonder if this is the pattern on the back of that door. If so, you'd have like... You'd have one at the bottom, skip. You'd go every other one on the bottom, and then the two up from the middle ones right there. And in here... Settings, dimensional imager, topographical extrusion test, water turbulent something, marker switch diagram. Well, I don't know about that. That's a little too obscure for me, actually. So that just points us back down to the basement. Same deal there. Okay. So we can leave. Let's go see. This is about the only lead that I've got right now. So I'll check this out and see if it works. Hopefully it pays off. Go right up here. Take these steps up. No, not in there. That's not what I want. I want to go back. Yeah, it's in here. It's in the fireplace. That's what I was thinking. The fireplace, that's what I want to look at. Where'd that damn fireplace go? No, not the book. Not the red book. Not the stupid red book. Nor the Kelly blue book. I don't want that. I'm not learning about car sales and prices and things. We're going to shut this and see when it yammers down here. If it was like that, you would kind of skip or would it be like that? That was the pattern I was thinking of, but that doesn't seem to work. Let me try doing this. No. No. Okay, well, I don't know. That was like the only thing that that was my best shot. I don't know. I've read all the books, I've looked at all the pictures, I've walked around everywhere I think that I can walk. I'm just not seeing anything else. And I'm not gonna look at the FAQs or the walkthroughs or anything to try and figure it. I just, you know. It won today, so I was gonna get on here and, oh, hold on, we got... I didn't see that before. I tried interacting with these and it didn't let me last time. But I guess you got... Yeah, I don't even know, man. I don't know. Too obscure for me at this juncture. This is one of those games where it's like if you've got, you know, a week to just sit down and really crack into, I feel like it'd be a good brain teaser to see if you could figure things out without looking anything up. But I think a lot of people end up looking at hints on their first playthrough. I don't think most people just sit down and run it. So there's Myst. It won today. And we'll see what happens next week. I think I guess I'll put it up for vote. Because that's what I said I would do. I said, you know, if a game gets voted the winner, then it'll move on to the next week. I don't think this one will be voted again. I just don't. It's not, like I said, I think the best game for live streaming. Just because of how cryptic it is. Now, maybe if we had some high energy Myst experts here in the chat who could help and direct me, that might be fun. But as it stands right now, I don't know what I'm doing, and it doesn't seem like anyone is really coming up with any solutions either. Not that you should. That's not a dig at anybody. I'm just saying it's very, very cryptic indeed. So I'm stumped. Everyone who's here is probably stumped. And that's okay. We'll have 2 new games to go up against Myst next Wednesday. And tomorrow night, it'll be 2000s. No. 90s. Thrilling 90s Thursdays. We'll see if Harvester wins again. See if we'll continue our playing of Harvester tomorrow night on the stream. And again, check out that playthrough of V's Rage. Push me to my limits. Some people here like that kind of thing. Some people like watching me suffer. How long is this reading session in all of the game? I don't know. I've never beaten this before. This is the most I've ever played Myst. It's just one of those games where you have to walk around and just try to figure shit out. And I already did quite a bit of reading. I'm sure there's probably a lot more to do to try and piece the puzzles together, to try to progress through the story. But I'm all out of ideas and I don't know what to do. So I'm probably going to go ahead and end the stream for the evening. And we'll be back tomorrow. So if you're hanging out right now and you haven't done so, please sub to the channel wherever you're watching, and make sure you go over to youtube.com/superdivorce. Sub there, because that's where I do my uploads, and that's where we do Saturday night Lego streams. Those are only on YouTube, so if you want to hang out and build some Legos and shoot the shit, make sure you sub on the YouTube channel. That's about all I got for right now. Oh, and also, if you are a subscriber on the YouTube channel and you'd like to support the channel beyond just watching, you can become a member for just $2.99 a month. You get yourself a little badge in the chat showing how long you've been a part of the channel. It's a heart logo, the Super Divorce heart, and then the background changes color depending on how long you've been around. And I'm going to start sending members of the channel a little button, an actual physical button that you can put on your favorite t-shirt, on your lapel. You could put it on a cork board. You could put it on anything. And these are for you. Just a little way of saying thanks beyond doing everything, you know, digital, online. Sometimes you like to have a physical representation, some sort of token. And this is a token of my appreciation. It's the least I can do. So for $2.99 a month, you can sign up, and I would appreciate you. All right? But if not, just your views, those are also appreciated. Just being here, just being a sub. Spreading the word of Super Divorce. Make sure you share some clips from TikTok or Instagram. You can find me on those platforms as well. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, I hope. Okay? All right. Ron, thanks for hanging. Sona, we'll see you next time. Everybody, take real good care. Keep kicking ass. Love you lots. Lord willing, be back very soon with another video for you to watch. Bye-bye.